PR25. So that means that one of these two at that mid-20s range is going to make winners top 8 in the PR1 slot, or the seed slot. Seed 1 slot, I should say.
This is technically an upset for Sandstorm. You know,
but by PR, it technically is an upset.
It's amusing to think about these things.
However, it is a great sword showcase. Say that 3 times fast. As the Diamond Head is actually what has shown up. Katars have come into the picture, which, like we said before, we're going to see plenty of Katars. We actually saw quite a bit of this from Luna towards the end of last season as well.
Yeah, so prefacing this match here, I'm very interested to see how Anime adapts to this matchup coming through, because despite Sandstorm being PR27, that is from inactivity. That is not from lack of ability. And Sandstorm has put in a lot of time and is essentially playing Arcadia in a way that nobody's seen before, and going up against Anime Man, or Anime, I'm already autopiloting. On Anime with the Diamond Head is going to be a tough match indeed, but that neutral stick comes through, and that is a nice little bit of adaptation that came through from the very opening, which was like a 19-second stock to a great sword sidelight finisher. So
essentially, yeah, it was all Sandstorm show at the beginning, but you have to be very careful about that neutral stick. It covers an incredible amount of range. It's really good on anti-air, and so the fact that lead has dissipated actually pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was going to say that he was looking good for a second, and then Sandstorm struck back immediately to put himself basically in the same lead he had before.
Yeah, Sandstorm, nice side air coming through. The down sigs are going to keep Anime airborne, and we've seen that Spear players in general are just masters of covering the single floating platform. I mean, we just saw Sandstorm box Anime off the side of the stage like 4 times there with Spear neutral air, with side air, with neutral light.
Neutral lights have been phenomenal at the ledge, like the entire time for anybody who's been rocking it so far today. And the Anime fan kind of struggling to get around that, but the recovery still won't be enough just yet.
Yeah, so this is the first bit of Katars that we've been able to see on stream today for the Winter Championship, and Sandstorm already adapting quite well to that first knockup that Anime got onto him, but the cider will come through, which was that he's taking advantage of Diamond Head's amazing neutral signature, covering his head where most Katar legends, like outside of Lucian, can't.
Yeah, it's a mini game that you now go into, because you are now going from what was a dodge around recovery to, oh, now I have to worry about neutral stake and recovery, and you have no choice. You have to guess correctly.
Yeah, and spot dodging or jumping up. Okay, well, that was a great finisher there from Sandstorm. But jumping up or dodging in place can be risky too, because Katars can also just be like, hey, it's not like I don't have recovery. So they can follow up with a lot more there. But that was a pretty dominant game from Sandstorm.
You wouldn't believe me when I say that these stats right here are true. When it's 217 to 247, with the Greatsword being the one at 217, just because the Greatsword was so on point that when he got his hits, it usually led to a closer. Ooh. As we see again right there, the Greatsword popped off.
If he autopiloted there on that side air, I could see a world where he was just trying to get the hit right away. But when he noticed, hey, if I turn the Sarah around, I get the knockout as opposed to bouncing him off the platform. That's how he gets that last stock there in that game number 1. Really solid play, and I think this is more of like the hypothetical strategy with Arcadia coming out into play that we're seeing right now. Whereas against Impala, it became like a really unique godlike player versus godlike player situation. Here it's like you do a lot of the damage buildup with the spear, you get the finishers with the greatsword, and sometimes get them even earlier than you would.
That was literally the battle of the D-Sig in that last set against Impala, whereas this one, we've seen it, but it's mostly just been the greatsword show. And this is now, we get to see that greatsword that he was kind of talking about, saying it's really strong right now. And of all places, we've ended up on Small Brawlhaven as the second stage here. I have extreme amounts of curiosity is the way I will put it on how we ended up here after that first game.
So something that Diamond Head has is amazingly early knockout potential, that incredibly high force, and then on the Katars, you catch with that side sig on Brawlhaven, and you're gone orange no matter what defense that you've got. And it's the same case when it comes to the gauntlet signatures as well. Now, we've seen mostly the Katars from Anime, which I believe is going to be the focus here if we're following that, like, thread of Katars are meta, but we'll see if Anime can find any of those signatures here as he goes forward with that side. Like, there's the side sig looking for that over the edge. Nair boxes Sandstorm off the stage, and that ground pound goes so low that Sandstorm actually reacts quite panically.
Yeah, that was a last second dip out of there too, and he's been playing really well around both the side sig and the D sig from the Katars at the ledge. So the idea of going for the Katars at the ground pound the last second was good, but he gets the first stock here, and this time he got it without having a very bad Great Sword stock happen to him.
Yeah, I like that turnaround with the down sig there as well, using it in a similar way to how Impala uses the down sig on the spear. So just seeing those fade backs is really cool. And now Anime really doing great with the guitars. Falls in for that side air. That down sig tries to go for a landing, and Anime's just stacked right on top of Sandstorm. And we're seeing a solid lead from Anime going into this game 2. Neutral sig will finally put a stop to that, though.
Yeah, that first stock here in game 2 is the telltale sign for me of how that Cody Travis set went. Now I understand how he was able to zone break blasters consistently and get underneath that and make him feel uncomfortable. But here goes Sandstorm going for the pogo at the end to try and get a little bit more out of it.
Oh, and he gets him. That's amazing. Okay. Turns around, pivots the side sig because it has a reversal element to it. So like, you want to be able to punish with the side sig there at the edge of the stage. You've got to be that on top of it. And he saw that dodge was gone. He was sweating. That's the stock.
That was all because of the fact that Sandstorm decided to go for that pogo at the end. He decided to go for that extra bit, and that was one less resource he had. So that was a guaranteed punish for Anime, and now he has the potential of finding himself a game 2 here.
Okay, Sandstorm trying to fight back with the siders there with the spear. Anime landing onto the stage, and a good gravity cancel downlight into Nair from Sandstorm means that more damage will come through, but look at that, blasted away with the down tick, and that's a 2-stock for Anime. All right, I gladly stand corrected. The PRs might be accurate.
Well, also, you said at the beginning, you were talking about that KO potential of Diamond Head here on Brawlhalla.
It's really good.
In my brain, I went, bro, you just had such a hard time against Greatsword. Why would you give yourself no soft platforms? But instead, it didn't matter.
It was 3-6.
Yeah, it just didn't matter at all. And now we're going to go over to a slightly wider range here with Demon Island.
Yeah, let's see how this changes here. This is the Great Sword runway stage.
Yes.
And so much in a counterpick fashion. All right, well, we're at a stage where Sandstorm will be able to breathe a little bit nicer. I think the one thing that Anime has, oh, the down ticket to the Sarah was so sick off of that combo.
Let him cook.
Oh,
He
man.
was going in further, but it's still now this is in that range where you have to watch out for the Great Sword
Silent
enders.
finisher will do it. Oh, I thought that was going to be it. He goes in for the neutral light, catches the landing. He really wants to get that dodge. A lot of attacks from the Great Sword will do it now. The new range of knockback from the neutral light finishers as well sends you off the top, guaranteed. It knocks out a little bit earlier than before, which was a nice little buff to the Great Sword. So we'll see if Sandstorm's able to get it, because at this point in time, Anime could go down to a lot of attacks.
Anime's gone down to one singular button in neutral air, but it's worked. He hit him 4 times in a row. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep it going, and now he has him in position. That was really good. I was actually curious before because he was going for slide cancel neutral sigs almost every other time in that spot. Instead, he walked off slightly and then immediately hovered back on after what looked like it would have been another attempt at a slide cancel off stage. Instead, goes back on stage.
Oh, and there's that neutral light finisher that I was just talking about there to be able to equalize things. But man, that was so sick, because that was the first neutral stick that we saw too, where he wasn't relying on a neutral light opener to lead into it. He just called Sandstorm out, and it knocked out as early as it possibly could have. That was an amazing, just being cognizant of how much damage his opponent has with when his character can knock out is so fantastic. Recovery comes through. Sandstorm spot dodging, just defensively, hoping that Anime doesn't get in, and that dash back to bait out the down sig was huge, but Sandstorm still capitalizes.
You got to be careful about the last time that happened. You got caught with a side sig at the ledge. So you do not want to get caught again. However, he is starting to build up the damage through the guitars one more time. However, D-Sig won't be enough yet. Tries to slide off, see if he can catch him, and that was beautifully executed. Sandstorm never went for that mix-up before, only ever just went for the sig and dipped. That was so well played.
It's the first time that I've seen Sandstorm do it this year, but honestly, the gravity cancel sidelight as a knockout is like a classic to me. He's done it so much with unarmed sidelight just to be able to get that extra bit of oomph when somebody's out of their jumps, but with the Greatsword, if you gravity cancel a light attack, you get a slightly weaker but still strong version of your finishers. Anime hitting right back there with a knockout off the top, but Sandstorm just showing how powerful the range of the sidelight finisher when gravity canceled can be, and we're back to an even game here in game 3.
This is looking so similar to that Impala set as well, where it has just been going down to the wire after what was, for a second there, that game 1 was painting a very different picture, but Anime has picked it up a ton. This is the most, I think we've seen Gauntlets be out in one consecutive session, but it could still get the job done here if he could just find one good neutral air and at least get him up to orange before he dips out.
Oh, okay. Side air hits. Anime gets underneath the down sig. Sidelight Nair goes in, gets the sidelight Nair again. Goes for the falling side air, but he did get the fast fall. And Sandstorm catches the landing. Side sig punished. Is that going to be it? No, the downlight finisher comes through. Ooh. The crystal dodged out of the way, but the downlight recovery, that's it. Sandstorm barely clutches game number 3 on what was feeling like the most amazing gauntlet combo I saw all year.
That was so scary because prior to that moment, they were both pretty reserved in how often they would just kind of rush. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, gas pedal went down, and what an amazing play there with that GC sidelight to just go ahead and close it out. But this right here,
this is the anime. This is an anime highlight into Sandstorm getting the knockout there. Really great job. Okay, that downlight finisher I thought was going to be it, but D-Light recovery. Sandstorm, that has been winning him games. His ability to pick out his opponent's drift when they're trying to land, snipe them with the downlight, and get that recovery or side air, whatever's more appropriate, to get the knockout. If without that, Sandstorm would be struggling in these matchups, and that's just how prepared he is with the weapon against all kinds of opponents, as he's now up 2-1 against Anime in the winners quarterfinals.
Yeah, big time agree. His anti-airs with D-Lights have actually been second to none so far, like pretty much this weekend, which is crazy considering how many great spear plays we've seen so far. But right now, we are in what would be the elimination side match for Anime, and the last time he was put in a position where he went down 1, he looked incredible going into game 2.
Oh, if Anime slide charged that neutral sig the other way, he could have possibly gotten it. Sandstorm makes it back to stage. Neutralite in the recovery. What a classic coming out from Anime on the guitars there. Takes the lead here on Demon Island on game 4. Interesting to note, despite that last game going to a loss, Anime's okay coming back to this stage.
Yeah,
really
and
it was close.
It was that close. Yeah, I don't think that it was. I think that Anime understood that even though it was slightly closer, he was still able to reset more often than with Sandstorm in that game. Nothing really went too south for him. He was just barely off of winning that game.
Yeah, Sandstorm really putting the pressure with the down stick. We saw that in the last set, and we're seeing it there as well. Catches him with it, gets the jump recovery. What an awesome combo. Arcadia is so unique when it comes to Legends in Brawlhalla in the sense that your signatures really are just setting up for your knockout moves.
When we went to break, I opened my phone, and I saw after the Impala set, Sandstorm, the only word, D-Sig. And that has been the theme of what we're seeing. Arcadia's D-Sigs have just been so good at just pumping people out and making them get hit. And also, you have to back off. You can't just rush them down. You have to respect it.
The second that you get into these situations where neutral game is being played, Sandstorm is saying, okay, this is Brawlhalla neutral game plus. Add the tweet in there, right? You put the down stick in there, and it's really forcing opponents to consider that because you have to play around that hitbox so well. That weapon throw, so close to being not real, does actually connect with Anime. Oh, Neutralite sidelight comes through. Can he catch this landing? Of course he can, Ajax. Of course he can.
As soon as the dodge was burned, man, he said, oh, this is a free closeout. It's so difficult to get around Sandstorm in those positions, and now he has one stock away from getting winner's top 8.
That was like some Queen Nai style punish, too, with the delay end sig. I was like, oh, yeah, Arcadia's got that. But Anime hits right back, knowing as much as we were celebrating that punish from Sandstorm, Anime has been right on top of Sandstorm's heels in this game number 4. They're both... So he's one stock away from getting to a game 5, and Sandstorm wants that 3-1 because Anime, if he gets the win on this map, I don't think we're going back to Brawlhaven, but it looks like any map can do it when it comes to how well he's been playing with the Diamond Head.
A big agree, and this is once again, much like last game, it went down to last stock, last hit, so you can't get to company. Weapon toss down, he's going to goes down.
Oh, the spear! Sandstorm!
No!
He went for the weapon and didn't touch the stage. I think that's what happened, right? Hold on.
Let's take a look back and see what happened here.
We're looking.
All right.
This down tick is so good. This is like every Caspian player's dream. Gets the weapon throw as Sandstorm's throwing his own weapon, and Anime hits his head. And here I thought, okay, well, that's the edgeguard being over, right? He touches. He doesn't actually touch. He goes and grabs the weapon, and he goes, oops. And just falls.
He was so close.
He was
so close. He basically, like, he absolutely, like sniff the wall or something. I don't know how his face
There's a unique
did
animation for when you touch the wall. You got to wait for that, and he ends up playing a little too quickly. He wanted that spear that badly, and it cost him.
Went in for the free sample for the food and then dipped before they could ask him for payment. It's like, but he wasn't around to stay close enough, and now we have a game number 5 in what was looking close to being a Game 4 victory for Sandstorm. And you got to be feeling really good for that, because no matter what happens, we take those if you're Anime.
Yeah, that was what a clutch. And in that edgeguard scenario, I mean, despite Sandstorm not touching the wall, it came from Anime being amazing with the down signature, which was basically designed for that exact situation. Oh, and Sandstorm not expecting the down sig to hit, doesn't get the cider follow-up afterwards. It might be okay. Of course it is. Just swings and bats Anime off the left side of the stage there as he takes the lead here in game number 5.
That batting average is looking phenomenal so far on this greatsword throughout this set, and it is pretty much what has kind of been the only like slowdown to the Katars from Anime, because it's mostly been an anti-air game with that spear before. So, but speaking of anti-airs, he's already taken quite a few. Just a burn dodge, he just misses the landing on it though.
Yeah, Anime coming through with the side lights. Gets the nair, puts down the neutral light, goes in for the side signature. If he pivoted to that, that could have been okay. But Anime, this is the most that we've seen him fall behind since game number 1. He really needs to find this finisher here. Neutral sig forces Sandstorm to go low, tries to get that recovery, and Sandstorm's just staying grounded. And that down sig, okay, that pummel comes through, but we're in a new age of Gauntlet neutral light. You're going to need more than that if you want to get the knockout, and that recovery is exactly what more he'll need to bring it back to a 2-2 score line.
We already seen that he's able to make some pretty impressive strings with gauntlets at that, so Sandstorm cannot be too comfortable here. The Anime getting in there, immediately got it. Oh, I like that. Try to cover the panic out so he doesn't get caught on the way down after that dare.
Yeah, Sandstorm manages to punish it, but I did like the idea quite a lot as well. Goes forward with a nair, catches one landing with the neutral light, catches two landing with the neutral lights, goes for the dashed up sider, but he falls into the down sig. Sarah comes through, Sandstorm has edge guard opportunity. He knows that he's swim, but Anime lands with the nair, and he side airs right above the down sig threat, but doesn't matter. Sandstorm with the true combo of greatsword dare nair takes Anime off the top and brings him down to his winner's bracket stock and hits him with 2 giant weapons on the way back.
2 volleys off the top of the head, and that is gonna get, hopefully it doesn't get into his head as we are sitting here. What is once again the potential set point for a Sandstorm as he's trying to get something started here. Avoids the neutral stick, gets over there, goes for a D-light read, but now he's in a really bad spot. The weapon
sidelight
just gets him out.
Oh, he goes with the downlight, expecting Sandstorm to fastball down, and Sandstorm makes it back, hits one Sarah, and Sandstorm now in complete control over the stage. Doesn't get the read on the dodge. Anime goes all the way up with the neutral signature, and Sandstorm just barely whiffs the down sig, and that sidelight finisher might be it, Ajax.
Is he going to be able to get by this? He gets up over the top, and he just misses. The neutral strike recovery won't be enough just yet. The spear is out. One more recovery from spear should do it, and the gauntlets won't be enough just yet to get him at least the last stock.
The neutral sig comes through. Sandstorm boxes him away with the neutral light, and that down sig, which he got a ton of mileage off of on Brawlhalla, doesn't work out, and the gravity cancel down light finisher. Actually my favorite move in Greatsword's kit. It's so sick. You use that in the air, you get the twirling motion, but you fall down, so you cover a little bit of the air and the ground as well, and it's a powerful move to boot. And Sandstorm finishes off that match in style as he goes on into winner side top 8 here at the Winter Championship.
I am so happy to see this performance from him because he's been talking a lot lately. Like if you see the YouTube channel, you see that he has been working on the Arcadia of late, talking about how it's a potential answer, not only going into boots, but just potentially into the meta in general. And it is working so well. And kudos to Anime for making that as solid as that was. That was so close multiple times to Anime.